Hello students, welcome back to Career Power Hyderabad, powered by Adda 24/7. So students, today we'll discuss the important MCQs. But before going into the MCQ session, please subscribe our YouTube channel. Please like our videos, share our videos, and also download the Career Power Hyderabad app. Will provide coaching for Bank, SSC, RRB as well as for SI Constable. So let us go into the first MCQ today. So who has been appointed as the new Vice Chief of Navy? So who has been appointed as the new Vice Chief of Navy? The answer is Vice Admiral S.N. Gormade. The answer is Vice Admiral S.N. Gormade. So Vice Admiral Satish Namadev Gormade is the new Vice Chief of Navy. So he succeeded from Vice Admiral G. Ashok Kumar. So G. Ashok Kumar recently retired. So in his place, Satish Namadev Gormade is appointed as the new Vice Chief of the Indian Navy. So earlier, he worked as the commanding officer of INS Brahmaputra, INS Alipi, and INS Nirakshak. So he has a lot of experience, technical experience in running all these warships. So earlier he was working as the Deputy Chief of the Integrated Defense Staff. So earlier he was working as the Deputy Chief of Integrated Defense Staff, and he was also awarded the Ati Visist Seva Medal and Nausena Medal in 2007 and 17. So these are all the achievements of the new Vice Admiral S.N. Gormade. So let us see a few details about the Vice Chief. So Vice Chief is the second highest ranking officer of Indian Navy who reports to the Chief of Naval Staff, who is mainly responsible for naval operations. So do remember the Chief of Naval Staff Admiral Karambir Singh, the Deputy Chief of Naval Staff Vice Admiral Ravanit Singh. So Vice Admiral Ravanit Singh is also a new appointment. So do remember all these points, very, very important. The next question, the first week of August from 1st to 7th of August is dedicated to which of the following? So first week of August, August 1st to 7th is dedicated as the World Best Breastfeeding Day. The World Breastfeeding Day is celebrated on the first week of August, that is from August 1st to August 7th. Okay. The main aim of the day is to raise awareness about the importance of breastfeeding for mothers and infants. And the theme for this series is very, very important. Please remember, protect breastfeeding is shared responsibility. So this event is organized by the World Alliance for Breastfeeding Action, a global network which aims to protect, promote, and support breastfeeding around the world. So breastfeeding is called nursing, the best way to provide infants with essential nutrients required for their growth and development. WHO says breast milk is the ideal food for infants. It is safe, clean, and acts as baby's first vaccine, protecting them against many childhood illness. So do remember all these points. And the World Alliance for Breastfeeding Action headquarters is in Penang, Malaysia, and established in 1991. Okay, so these are all the points. Let us go into the next MCQ. When is the Muslim Women's Right Day observed in India? The Muslim Women's Rights Day is observed in India on 1st of August. So 1st of August is observed as the Muslim Women's Rights Day. So on this day, a law against triple talaq was enacted in India. So this day was first observed in 2020. On August 1st, 2019, the malpractice of triple talaq was declared a criminal offense by government enacting a law. This law is officially called the Muslim Women Protection of Rights of Marriage Act 2019. This act prohibits the practice of instant divorce by Muslim men, and any violation of the law is punishable by a jail term of nearly 3 years. Okay, so remember these points. And after this law, there was a reduction of 82% in the triple talaq cases. There was a reduction in cases. So not only India, earlier Egypt was the first country to ban this social evil practice, followed by Sudan, Pakistan, Malaysia, Bangladesh, Iraq, Syria, United Arab Emirates, Morocco, Cyprus, Iran, Jordan, Brunei, Algeria, Qatar. All these countries have banned this particular social evil practice. Okay. So if you see the background, Supreme Court in August 2017 declared the practice of triple talaq, or a form of divorce based on husband pronouncing divorce thrice in a quick succession, as unconstitutional. So based on this, in December 2017, government enacted this Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Marriage Bill. The government brought this bill and they enacted the bill. So this bill is mainly to promote women's self-reliance, self-respect, and to boost self-esteem and its fundamental and democratic rights of the Muslim women. So these are all the details about this act and the day. So do remember. So who was awarded the prestigious Lokmanya Tilak National Award for 2021? So who was awarded the prestigious Lokmanya Tilak National Award for 2021? The answer is Cyrus Poonawalla. So Cyrus Poonawalla, the founder of Serum Institute of India, was awarded the Lokmanya Tilak National Award for the year 2021. So for his efforts towards the COVID-19 pandemic and for manufacturing the Covishield vaccine in India, so Cyrus Poonawalla was given the award. Generally, this award was given on August 1st, the death anniversary of Lokmanya Tilak, by the Tilak Trust. But due to the COVID pandemic situation, this year the award is given on August 13th. So this award carries 1 lakh cash prize and a memento. So earlier, this award was given to former prime ministers like Indira Gandhi, Manmohan Singh, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, and our former president Pranab Mukherjee, and Infosys founder R. Narayan Murthy. So these are all the previous recipients of the award. So Poonawalla, Cyrus Poonawalla, was born in 1941, who established the Serum Institute of India in 1966. And today, this is the world's largest vaccine manufacturer. So they are currently manufacturing Covishield, which is a coronavirus vaccine developed by Oxford University and AstraZeneca, as well as Novavax vaccine of the United States. So both of these vaccines are produced by the Serum Institute. So currently, Adar Poonawalla, the son of Cyrus, is the current CEO of the Serum Institute. Okay, so do remember these points, and you know Adar Poonawalla is frequently in news. So this may be a current affairs question for your examination, so do remember about them. So what was the revenue collected from GST in the month of July 2021? So what was the revenue collected from GST in the month of July 2021? So whenever GST cross 1 lakh crore, definitely it will be a question. So do remember, whenever GST cross 1 lakh crore, definitely it will be a question. So the answer is 1.16 lakh crore. 1.16 lakh crore. So GST collection in July was 1.16 lakh crore. Okay. Last year in July 2020, the collection was only 87,000 crores. And last month in June 2021, it is 92,000 crores. So whenever it crosses 1 lakh, definitely it will be a question in the examination. Okay. So GST is GST is goods and services tax, mainly a tax collected on sale of goods and services. Okay. It is a tax collected on sale of goods and services. So in the month of July, the GST is 1,16,393 crore, of which central GST is 22,000 crores, state GST 28,000 crores, integrated GST 57,000 crores, and cess is 7,700 crores. Okay, so try to remember these points also. So next question related to Olympics and our Olympic medal for our India, the second Olympic medal. So who among the following has won bronze by defeating Harbin Chow of China in women's badminton singles of the Tokyo Olympics? So who defeated Harbin Chow of China to win Olympic bronze medal in the badminton singles of Tokyo Olympics? And you know the answer. The answer is PV Sindhu. So PV Sindhu is the winner of the Olympic bronze medal. She defeated China's Harbin Chow to win this bronze medal in the women's single event at the Tokyo Olympics. Sindhu is the first Indian woman as well as the second Indian athlete after Sushil Kumar to win Olympic medals in individual events. So Sindhu is the first Indian woman, second athlete after Sushil Kumar to win 2 Olympic medals. Okay, so last Olympics in 2016 also, Sindhu won silver medal in women's singles badminton, and this Olympics Sindhu won a bronze medal. So do remember all these points. The next question, Ishwari Udana. So he announced retirement from cricket. So he belongs to which country? So Ishwari Udana has announced a retirement from the international cricket. So he belongs to which country? The answer is Sri Lanka. So Sri Lanka left-arm bowler and all-rounder Ishwari Udana has announced a retirement from international cricket. So he made his T20 debut in 2009 against Australia and T20 World Cup. So it was at the T20 World Cup. And also his maiden ODI, One Day International, was against India in 2012. So he has a career of 12 years in which he played 21 ODIs, 35 T20 internationals, and he achieved 45 wickets. So this is the brief history of Ishuru Udana, but he will continue to play domestic and franchise cricket. So he retired announcement from international, but he will continue to play domestic and franchise cricket. So do remember these points. So name the world's Masters gold medal winner, track and field player who passed away recently. So name the World Master gold medal winner, track and field player who passed away recently. The answer is Mankaur. So Mankaur is the World Masters gold medal winner. So this is mainly an athletic competition for 100 plus category. So she was expired recently. So if you see her details, if you see her personal biodata, she was born on March 1st, 1916, and she is one of the caretakers of the queens and children of the royal Patiala household of the then Maharaja Bhupender Singh, then to Maharaja Yadvinder Singh, who is the father of current Punjab Chief Minister Amarinder Singh. Kaur later on shifted to Chandigarh in 1960s, and at the age of 93, she started athletics. So she was encouraged by her son Gurudev Singh, who was also competing in athletics. So she got her first medal in the Chandigarh Master Athletics Meet in 2007. This is mainly an athletics meet for elderly people. She also won gold in 100 meters and 200 meters race in the National Masters Athletic Meet in 2011. In the same year, Kaur went to become the 100-meter, 200-meter champion in the World Athletics Championships, which were held in USA, and also was awarded the best athlete. So later on, in the World Masters Athlete Championships, which were conducted in Oakland in 2017, she won 100 meters in the 100 plus category. So also 200 meter, shot put and javelin throw. In every event, she achieved gold. So these are all the achievements of Mankaur. Later on in the Spain 2018 also, she won nearly 4 gold medals in 60 meter, shot put, javelin throw in 200 meter. So these are all the achievements of Mankaur. She was also awarded the Laurus Best Sporting Movement of the Year 2018 award, and also Nari Shakti Puraskar by the Indian government. So these are all the details about Mankaur. So please try to remember. So next question. Who is the author of the book In an Ideal World? So who is the author of the book In an Ideal World to be released in next year 2022? The answer is Kunal Basu. So Kunal Basu is the author of the book In an Ideal World. So this book will explore a lot of variety of themes like family, college politics, and fantasism. So he is very best known for his short story The Japanese Wife, and also his important works include The Opium Clerk, The Miniaturist, Racist, The Yellow Emperor's Cure, and Sarojini's Mother. These are all the works by Kunal Basu. So do remember, in an Ideal World, the book is authored by Kunal Basu. The next question, LIC CSL, LIC Card Services Limited, they are partnering with which of the following bank to launch 2 new credit cards, Lumin and Eclat. So Eclat and Lumin are 2 new credit cards launched by LIC Card Services Limited. With which of the following bank? Partnering with which of the following bank? The answer is IDBI. So Industrial Development Bank of India. So IDBI and LIC Card Services Limited, they have launched this Lumin card and Eclat card. So Lumin Platinum credit card and Eclat Select credit card were launched on the RuPay platform. These cards will be initially given to the LIC policyholders, agents, employees of the LIC group. So this card will have a lot of benefits. They'll come with an insurance cover. So both accident insurance, personal accident insurance, air accident insurance, permanent disability cover, credit shield cover, and zero lost card liabilities. So this card will have a validity of 4 years and an interest-free credit period up to 48 days. So these are all the benefits in the card. The LIC Card Services Limited organization was launched in 2008 and headquartered in Mumbai. IDBI was launched in 1964 and headquarters is in Mumbai. Do remember all these static points. The next question, Meenakshi Lekhi, the Minister of State for Culture, participated in the G20 Culture Ministers meeting recently. So this meeting was hosted by which of the following country? So Meenakshi Lekhi, the Minister of State for Culture, has participated in the G20 Culture Ministers meeting. So who is the host of this particular meeting? So who is the host of the G20? Who is the G20 president is a simple question. The answer is Italy. So Italy is the host of this G20 culture meeting 2021. So Meenakshi Lekhi, the Ministry of State for Culture, has participated in this event. So Italy has conducted this two-day meeting on 29 and 30 July. So Italy is the current president of G20 in 2021. And the main topics in this particular meeting were protection of cultural heritage, addressing the climate crisis, building capacity through training, digital transition and new technologies, culture and creative sectors as drivers of our growth. These are all the topics discussed here. And at the end of the discussion, a G20 ministers of culture, so they adopted a terms of reference. So these G20 ministers of culture, they adopted terms of reference. Also remember, the new Minister of Culture and Tourism is G. Kishan Reddy. The Union Minister is G. Kishan Reddy, Cabinet Minister. Ministry of State is Meenakshi Lekhi. So do remember all these points. Let us see few details about G20. So G20 is made up of 19 countries and European Union. And here is the list of the 19 countries. Please remember, very, very important. Argentina, Australia, Brazil, Canada. China, Germany, France, India. Indonesia, Italy, Japan. Mexico, Russia, Saudi Arabia, South Africa. South Korea, Turkey, UK, USA. So these are all the 20 nations. Okay. European Union plus 19, 20 nations in the G20. So do remember, so this G20 was established in 1999 mainly to face in response to the world crisis, economic crisis. In 2008 onwards, they are meeting every year, at least once a year, with the heads of the government or the state or finance minister, foreign minister and other important ranking officials. So do remember all these points. Next question. Who won the Hungarian Grand Prix 2021? So who won the Hungarian Grand Prix 2021? So it's not Lewis Hamilton or it's not Sebastian Vettel or it's not Max Verstappen, but it is, the answer is, who is the winner of the Hungarian Grand Prix 2021? The answer is Esteban Ocon. So a new winner, Esteban Ocon, he's maiden win. So please remember him, very, very important. So this may be your question because maiden win for Esteban Ocon. So Esteban Ocon of the Alpine Renault Racing. So he belongs to France. So he is the winner of the Hungarian Grand Prix 2021, which was conducted in Magyarország, Hungary. So second rank went to Lewis Hamilton. Third rank went to Carlos Sainz. So these are all the winners. Okay. So 1, 2, 3 ranks. So Esteban Ocon, do remember him, who is the winner of the Hungarian Grand Prix. So this Hungarian Grand Prix is a motor racing event which will be held annually in Hungary, Magyarország, in a place called Magyarország, Hungary. So 1986 onwards, this race was a part of the FIA Formula One World Championships. So these races were launched in 1963. This track was launched in 1963. It is 1936. From 1986, it is part of the Formula One World Championships. So do remember Formula One, there are 23 Grand Prix in this Formula One. So definitely every month, twice you will have these Grand Prix in news. So please remember all these Grand Prix, very, very important. So who has taken over as the Controller General of Accounts? So who has taken over as the Controller General of Accounts? The answer is Deepak Das. So Deepak Das, senior civil servant, who is an Indian Civil Account Service officer and also the 25th officer to hold the post of Controller General of Accounts. So prior to this, he is the Principal Chief Controller of Accounts in the CBDT, Central Board of Direct Taxes. So now Deepak Das is now the Controller General of Accounts, who will be the account keeper of Government of India, which derives power from the Article 150 of the Constitution. So the main duty of the Controller General of Accounts is to reconcile the cash balance of the center with RBI and also consolidating monthly accounts, preparing trends of revenue realization, expenditure as well as annual accounts of the central government. These are all the main task of the Controller General of Accounts. His main task is to maintain accounts. Okay, so do remember him. The next question: which country has assumed the presidency of United Nations Security Council for the month of August 2021? So who is the president of UNSC for the month of August 2021? The answer is India. So our own India, our Pyara Bharat India, is the president of the UNSC for August 2021. Okay, and also PM Narendra Modi will be the first Indian PM to preside over a meeting of the UNSC. So PM Modi will address the UNSC very soon in the month of August itself. So as a president of United Nations, so India will decide the agenda for the month. It will coordinate the meetings and other related issues. India will focus on 3 priority areas during its presidency. They will include the maritime security, peacekeeping and counter-terrorism. Okay, so do remember all these points. And also on January 1st, 2020, India's term as a non-permanent member was started. So it began on January 1st, 2021. For the next 2 years, it will be the non-permanent member. And you know, UNSC generally has the permanent members and non-permanent members. So India is a non-permanent member. So let us see a few details about UNSC, which is one of the 6 main organs of the UN, responsible for ensuring international peace and security, approving any changes to the UN Charter, recommending the admission of new members to the General Assembly. So its powers also includes establishing and enacting international sanctions, peaceful operations and authorizing military operations. And it is only UN body which has the authority to issue binding resolution for member states. The UNSC has total 15 members, 5 permanent and 10 non-permanent, whereas India is a non-permanent member. So do check out all the 15 members, very, very important. So UNSC headquarters New York, established in 1945. And also remember, India's permanent representative to UN, S. Tirumurti. So India's permanent representative to UN, S. Tirumurti. So do remember all these points. The next question, what is the theme for this year World Breastfeeding Week? We already discussed what is the theme for this year World Breastfeeding Week. The answer is protect breastfeeding, a shared responsibility. Protect breastfeeding, a shared responsibility. So we already discussed. So please remember. The last question for today, e-Rupee digital payment solution was recently launched by. So e-Rupee digital payment solution was recently launched by PM Modi itself. So PM Modi has launched this e-Rupee digital payment solution. Okay. So PM Modi has launched this e-Rupee digital payment solution. So what is this e-Rupee digital payment solution? So it is an initiative to limit the touch points between government and beneficiary, to ensure benefits reach the targeted people and in a leak-proof manner. So it is a one-time payment mechanism which will allow users to redeem voucher without any card, without any digital payment app, without any internet banking service. So simply this particular e-Rupee, it's a voucher which is an SMS based or QR code based voucher. You can simply use it, you can redeem it without any other technicalities, very simple to use. So this was launched by the NPCI, National Payments Corporation of India, okay, on its UPI platform. So all the banks were given access to issue this e-Rupee. So this was launched with the collaboration of the Department of Financial Services, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare and National Health Authority, because initially e-Rupee will be used mostly in the health sector. So this will provide leak-proof delivery of welfare services. So this platform will be used to deliver services under schemes that are meant to provide drugs and nutritional support to mother and child, drugs and diagnostics under various schemes like the Ayushman Bharat, Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, fertilizer subsidy, TB eradication program. And also these vouchers can be used by private sector. They can also issue these digital vouchers to their employees. So suppose the private sector is giving salaries and they want to provide some bonus to their employees. So this e-vouchers can be given as bonus to their employees. So a 500 e-Rupee e-voucher, 500 rupees voucher or 1000 rupee voucher can be given by the company to its employees. So these are all the like benefits of this e-Rupee. So this e-Rupee is directly delivered to the mobile phones of a beneficiary through SMS or QR code. There is no need of taking any printout of this. There is no need of having a mobile app like the PhonePe, Google Pay. You need not have internet banking. No need of internet, nothing. Simply, government will purchase e-Rupees. It will give to public through a message or a QR code. Companies will purchase e-Rupees. It will provide this to its employee by SMS or QR code. Okay, so you can use this e-Rupees and you can purchase in the market. Okay, and also initial government is planning to bring vouchers, e-Rupee, this digital vouchers mainly for vaccines. So people can buy these vouchers and gift their loved ones, or companies can buy these vaccine vouchers and gift their employees. So initially government is trying to bring this e-voucher system in vaccines. So this is a prepaid gift voucher. So it is redeemed at specific accepting centers without a need of credit or debit card or mobile app or internet banking. So it already has a fixed amount. So there is no need of anything. It already has a fixed amount in it, 500 or 1000. So there is no need of having a internet or having a password or having a mobile app, nothing, card, nothing. Simply you can use this e-voucher system. So this will create a lot of transparency, increase the technology in India, increase the online banking services in India. So financial inclusion will increase a lot in India. India will move towards the digital India. So these are all the benefits of e-rupee. So do remember. So these are all the MCQs for today. So please subscribe our channel, like our videos, share our videos. This PDF is available in Telegram channel. For all other important PDFs, join our Telegram channel. We'll provide the link in the description as well as comment section. And download the Career Power Hyderabad app. We provide coaching for Bank, SSC, RRB as well as for SI Constable. So do download the Career Power Hyderabad app. So thank you students. We'll meet in the next class.